Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Maganda Beach in Goa, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das, who's live in Mayapur. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the beach. We just missed a beautiful sunset right on the Arabian Sea, Kastuba. Kastuba's
Nice.
live in Mayapur. And we're trying to deal with our bad internet connection by trying to do this at a restaurant right on the beach. What do you think about that, Mayor?
Okay.
It's Q&A day, questions and answers day. People have been writing in their questions, trying our best to do some decent answers. Miss Mara is trying to set up the Facebook for our Facebook people. Kastuba, any news on your side? Any happenings in Mayapur?
Oh, I mean, it's lovely here. It was the appearance of David Waitacharya the other day. That was beautiful.
It's-
It's
it's-
always great here. You know, it's always
It's
great.
the bright lights birthday, isn't it?
Yet it's a bright light. Now
Kishori Gopi.
formerly Kelly Skinner, now Kishori Gopi. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a little pizza party today in honor of her.
Nice. I've been on a light fruit and salad diet.
Okay,
What do you think about that? You're not
If it
that
makes you
impressed.
happy.
You want to hear Krishna Miracle? Out of all the places you could book to stay, out of all the little cottages, Mara booked some random place, and it is right next to this great vegetarian restaurant.
Okay.
There's only 2 vegetarian restaurants in like this whole town, it seems like.
How can
And
that
we
be?
are staying right next door to one of them.
Yeah,
Okay, good,
because
good.
people just come here. And, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Go is weird. It's like
It's like another country.
it's like it's not like India. It's not like, it's almost like Costa Rica. It's got that vibe. Like we're just here to party and drink some brews and
Not like
That's
that
about
down
it.
in Varkala.
sure it is. Are you kidding?
Nah, not on
Jellyfish
that
land? Jellyfish
Beach.
land?
That doesn't work, Raghunath. All right, let's get into it. Come on. He's losing it.
Okay, here's some announcements, Miss Mary.
Yeah.
There's no show tomorrow, but we do have Urban Davy meeting tomorrow, and the topic is spirituality in the brain, which sounds interesting. And that's via the Bhakti Center. So if you go to bhakticenter.org, go to their online offerings for Urban Davy tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 12:30. We also have some
Spirituality-
BRG meetings.
Spirituality
Yes.
and the brain? Or
Yeah.
in the brain?
Spirituality and the brain.
Who's speaking?
Well, glad you asked me
Well,
that.
this is the
and
second time you
tell you
came
right away.
unprepared with that, Maraji. You just live in the
No,
beach
I can
life.
tell you. I can tell you.
Okay.
It's it is led by Suni Jani, MD.
Okay.
She's a child, adolescent, adult, and addiction psychiatrist who has a medical degree and a master's in public health with a focus on global health issues.
Okay.
So they delve into brain science and spiritual or religious experiences and how specific areas of the brain and certain brain chemicals play a role in experiencing spirituality. Sounds
What was it called
interesting.
again? Spirituality in the brain?
And the brain. Yeah.
And the brain. Spirituality in
Spirituality
the
in the brain.
membrane.
Interesting. Insane in the membrane. I'm doing a what do you call it? I'm doing a book release kirtan in Long Beach
Kirtan.
at Yoga 108 in Long Beach, and that will be on April 13th. Friday, April 13th, autograph signing. If people care about stuff like that, I'll sign it.
Okay.
Friday, no, April 12th. It's the day before the Youth of Today show. There's a Youth of Today show going on in LA, and then there's a shelter show going on in LA. All that's happening. And then I might even go to San Francisco and do a Ram Navami appearance day kirtan with Johnny Harrison.
Oh, that's
We're doing all
nice.
these book launch things. If you haven't got the book, go to Amazon.com to pre-order it, or it's already available on Audible. Make sure you leave it's a lot of people have already done that. Leave a 5-star review, please, or leave a comments on Audible.
Do it.
You think about that? Do it.
Okay.
Double it. Double it. Okay. All right. So we
Do
got
it.
some
Just do it.
we got some questions, sir.
Okay. What questions who are we hearing from first?
Tomas from
Interesting that you
Hamburg.
mentioned Tomas because he's into surfing. You got all these surfers right behind you right now.
Well, yeah, he's like a surfing guru, yoga teacher from
Yeah.
Hamburg. Not a lot of
He's a great
surf in
guy.
Hamburg, but he's a wonderful guy, and he's like an old hardcore guy too, but he's a serious spiritual practitioner, and he came
Yeah.
to India with us. And yeah, it's great to have him part of our community. Here's his question, and it's a serious question. First of all,
Okay.
thank you for the wisdom that you're sharing for so many years already. Till the day today, it's my first choice to go to.
Yeah, I think he's saying like up until today, even
Am
up
I
until
drunk?
today.
Okay. Okay, it's not me, it's him, the way he wrote it. Till today, it's my first choice to go to. Oh, it's his first choice to go to. And so I can call myself very happy to have been able to integrate these teachings into my own life. At least I try my best as I can. Which
Okay.
brings me to my question. Last November, I had some kind of a switch on this human experience when a knot in my left thigh, which was first diagnosed as hematoma, turned out to be a high-grade sarcoma, a very seldom form of aggressive tumor, as the doctors emphasized.
Okay.
It was a shock at first. I'm actually shocked just reading this. It was a shock at first, though. Even in the moment of the diagnosis, I found myself as more in a state of observing the scene than to be totally in it. The
Interesting.
doctors said their intention is to fully heal me, but can't promise anything as it's so rare. Though I had some moments of sadness, somehow most of the time I managed to stay positive, giving my body this energy, reading the Gita, listening to Raghu's Krishna stories and the Wisdom of the Sage podcast on a daily basis, which helps me stay confident. Beautiful.
Yes.
And that's what we're supposed to do in times of great,
Challenge like this.
challenges. Yeah. Though there are these moments of thoughts like, but what if it doesn't turn out with a good ending? And I recognize my ego taking over saying, but this can't have been all. I still wanted to do so much, which brings me in a more anxious state again. So my question is, what would be best to stay relaxed? I assume it's the path of surrendering to
I
this
think
whole
he's saying
situation.
no. You emphasize that not the way I think he wrote it. So my question is, what would be best in order to stay relaxed? I think that's what
Okay.
he's.
I assume it's the path of surrendering to the whole situation. What I've really been trying to do for the last weeks of chemotherapy already. But since and then still some anxiety pops up,
Yeah.
understandably. I hope this question wasn't too long, and also maybe it helps others who are in a similar situation. Sending you much love and hugs from Berlin. Wow. First, Tomas, we love you. And it's great having you part of this family. And we're really honored that you sort of turned to us in such a trying time. Isn't that's how the world goes? That he expressed something you hear so many times before, like, what if it doesn't turn out good? and I had so many plans. That's not just your story, Tomas. That's the story of all living entities. Generally, no one is like, okay, I'm planning to leave my body. It's generally at any moment. The sobering effect of what you got is actually a gift, and it may be a little challenging to see that, but this precariousness that the entire world is in is often just covered over. We overlook it. We There's a time bomb that is taped to our chest under our shirt, and we don't want to look when it's going to blow up. You know, sometimes people have cancer and they live for 20 years longer. Sometimes people just walk on the street and they're completely physically fit and ripped and strong and beautiful and get hit by a car. So no one knows when we're gonna leave our bodies, no matter what the doctors say. No one really knows. But adding spiritual life to your life on a regular basis not only melts anxiety, um, and not only helps us just in living my regular life, living my healthy life, living my, work life, living a happy life with my family, but it also prepares us if life gets pulled from us, if the carpet gets pulled out from underneath our feet at any moment. So you're doing the best, and look at this as a special gift as, oh, wow, all this stuff we say in the Bhagavatam is true, that life is actually temporary, that anything can happen at any moment. And I was a little bit intoxicated with, the fun of life. I mean, life is also fun. I know you're a surfer, you like to go to exotic places, you're a yoga teacher, you're respected, you're tall, you're good looking. So like life can be we can be intoxicated with our good fortune. But the reality is everything is temporary. And look at this as some little blessing to say, hey, everything's good, right? It can go south real quick. And maybe that is just a little pinch that Krishna is giving us, giving you, truthfully giving me. When I hear your story, I'm hearing it in myself that, hey, anything can happen at any moment. Maybe take this to the next level. Maybe turn it up a notch. Maybe get into our hearing or satsang, or hearing uh, spiritual sound vibrations on a more regular basis, on a deeper level. Maybe it's time to journal a little bit more. But these things are always beautiful wake up calls, no matter how it turns out. How it turns out, that's up to God, your karma, anything. But these are all accelerators or trampolines for our spiritual life. So you must be doing something right, because this type of thing, and I don't mean to sound callous at all, is something that we all need to hear, and that when we hear it from you, we should also take it seriously in us. We're hearing it for ourselves. I'm hearing that, oh yeah, I'm here with Mara on the beach in Goa. This whole world is temporary. That is what I'm hearing for myself right now. Don't get so intoxicated with my watermelon juice. Kastuba?
Thank you, Raghunath. I'll start as you did and just express, my concern for Tomas and my appreciation and, my heartfelt feelings for him. It was a bit shocking to hear this question. So, we're here for you. And really, please feel free to reach out to Raghunath and myself, as you're going through this. Don't be shy for that. Now, what you're going through, it's we read our books and we tell our stories and we speak our philosophy, but if it never gets put to the test, then we never really quite find out how deep it's gone. Now our faith is that one who has this spiritual realization, we could call it Brahman realization, we could call it spiritual realization, the realization that I am spirit, right? That I'm not this body, that I'm not this mind, that I am a spark of spiritual energy. I'm a spark, like the rays are to the sun. I am to that Parabrahman, to that origin of all existence, that origin of all life, Sri Krishna. I'm a spark of his fire, right? I'm made out of eternality, knowledge and bliss. That's what I am. It's a nice philosophy. It sounds nice. But how deep have we imbibed it? When we imbibe it fully, when it's fully imbibed, our anxiety in life will be gone. Our suffering in life will be gone. And it sounds to me like you've imbibed it partially by hearing regularly, by tuning into this podcast and hearing Bhagavatam and so on. You've imbibed it to a large degree. So even though you're going through such a challenging circumstance, facing your own mortality, you're saying to a large degree, you're experiencing it more as a witness than as a victim. And that is very interesting, and that's very encouraging, and that means this is sinking in and it's growing in you and it's getting deeper, and you're on your path. You are on your path. You have made positive steps forward on your path to eternality, right? Your path to realizing your eternality and fully experiencing your eternality. You're moving forward. And at the same time, it's not surprising that you would report to us that sometimes that anxiety sets in. Sometimes you worry, you feel, what if this isn't going to end well? And those haunting thoughts of one's own mortality, arise in you. So that's to be expected, I believe. That's that you're a person that's on the path. You haven't traversed the entire path yet. Take heart, have no fear, keep moving forward, understand that it's going to be a little scary. We certainly hope, that this is Krishna's, as Raghunath's saying, this is one way or another, it's a gift. The wise person sees it as a gift, because this is where that already you've made advancement on this path, and it's challenges like this that will accelerate that advancement, that will deepen that understanding, that will make it more deeply, firmly rooted in you. So my hope and my, what I expect is that you'll get over this, but you'll come out the other end of it stronger, deeper, more deeply realized. And we don't know, perhaps this, perhaps you won't come out, perhaps any one of us could pass away before you do. We don't know. We're all a little drop of water, on a waxy lotus leaf that could slip off at any moment, and slip into, our next incarnation, our next situation. And in that sense, we all in one sense are alone, with no one to reach out to but that origin of all existence, that beautiful Sri Krishna. You're feeling that now. It's scary. I get it's scary. That scariness, that's part of what it takes that's part of what you have to pass through to come out the other side. So pass through it with courage, pass through it with knowledge, pass through it taking the shelter and the help from the Srimad Bhagavatam and from those spiritual contacts you have in your life. And again, we're with you here. Reach out to us. Reach out to us when you feel the need, and we're here with you, Tomas. Thank you for sharing this, your thoughts and your realizations.
Ooh, these are serious question.
Yeah, very serious.
And the material world is like you use this expression, a drop of water on a lotus petal, right?
Yeah.
You ever seen water on lotus? Water, the petals are waxy, so the water will turn into a ball and roll off. Yeah, and beat off. I say that existence is like, ever see the kids play this game where they put a spoon in their mouth and they try to balance an egg on the spoon, and they have to run, and it's like a relay race or something like that for a birthday party. Our life is like that. We have this crazy idea that we're solid and that we're firm and that we're strong and that, we're indestructible. And it's just like quite the opposite. And it doesn't take much analyzation of life. And then when something does happen, which is completely normal, then we're all struck with wonder. and this
Yeah.
deep sobriety. Like, oh, I can't believe it.
What's
But
obvious, what should be obvious all along is
right.
suddenly right there in our face, and
And
it's
so,
shocking.
and so the real blessing is that that's what we do for fun. We like try to imbibe truth on a regular basis. And so it's not such a jarring thing when there's so-called material tragedy. Not only is it not jarring, but it becomes the whole experience becomes sweet.
Right.
Uh, it become we see ourselves in Krishna's hands in the same way a mother cat is gripping the baby cat by the nape of the neck. It's we don't feel there's not that fear melt to the degree that we imbibe the spiritual truth, the wisdom literature, anxiety melts. Otherwise, the whole world is riddled with anxiety. And if you're not filled with anxiety, you're crazy, right?
Mm.
But to a spiritualist, we understand there is no death, there is no birth. We're eternal beings. Anyway, you're in a beautiful place around beautiful people. Thank you, Tomas. And this is from
Okay.
another listener who's been through massive challenges when she moved to Texas, Ashley Rodriguez. No stranger to our Q&A day. She went
Yeah.
through so much crazy stuff with her husband, 3 little babies. Husband got in a horrible motorcycle accident, and she just applied spiritual truths to a material tragedy. And she's just got an
Deepened
incredible,
her. Yeah. Deepened
yeah,
her realizations.
it deepens your realization. So let's see what she says today. Hello, friends. I was hoping you could talk some about a relationship with Radha as a devotee of Krishna. I feel so much love and connection with Krishna when I see him, but not so much with Radha. I feel like I'm missing out on something. Thank you so much for everything you all continue to do with so much love and gratitude. We're in a great,
Ashley Rodriguez.
un, yeah, we're in a unique tradition that worships the divine feminine along with the divine masculine. Radha and Krishna worship. Matter of fact, we say to even get to Krishna, you have to worship Radha. So yeah, this is maybe a very poignant question. How do you develop love of Radha? Kastubi, you want to jump in on this?
Well, sure. I think I understand the question because it's like we walk into a temple and we see Radha and Krishna
Right.
on the altar, right? We have our paintings in our homes, the paintings of Radha and Krishna together. But when we hear from the Shastra and hear from speakers, we hear mostly about Krishna. We hear very little about Radha. And so I think the first thing we need to address is why is that? And it has to do with understanding that Radharani, is really the most sacred aspect of our faith, right? It's like she is held as most sacred. And the topic of the love between Radha and Krishna is in efforts to keep it sacred, to keep our understanding of it sacred and our approach to it sacred. That's part of the challenge of handing it down, right? Because we are very prone to approach this world with the spirit of I am the enjoyer. And when we read about the amorous pastimes of Radha and Krishna, right? They're in a romantic context. Then we're very prone to interpret that through our own conditioned thinking, and either to see it from the perspective of our own material enjoyment, or to misunderstand it as being ordinary in some way, as being similar to how we understand amorous love. And so the topic of Radha, even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't hear Radha's name. You know, the acharyas, the teachers on this, they say she's mentioned once, and they're even only alluded to. We hear about the gopis, but we don't hear Radha's name. And you know, it's said that Shukadev Goswami, as he's reciting Bhagavatam, he didn't recite the name of Radha because he felt he himself might be overwhelmed with spiritual emotion just by the mention of her name. And so all of that, for many reasons, it's kept very secret. If we want to hear about Radha, we should be really careful to hear from the right sources. And in Prabhupada's books, especially a place that we can go is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in 2 chapters in particular, there's fascinating, beautiful information on Radharani. And, you know, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita is Srila Krishna Dasa Kaviraja. Right? So Kaviraja means, Kavi means poet. Kaviraja means like the king of poets. And it's a fact that to speak on such a sacred and beautiful, delicate subject, it has to be expressed through poetry, and only by the most sensitive person. And so to hear about Radha, we can go to the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the works of Krishnadas Kaviraj. In the I think it's the 4th chapter of the Adi Leela, there's a chapter that describes the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya. Maybe I can read just a few verses from that chapter. I'm not going to read it in detail. There's 2 chapters. There's also in the Madhya Leela, chapter 8, which is the conversations between Sri Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy. That's another place. That chapter is so chock full of the most beautiful, mesmerizing information about Radharani. It's such a masterpiece. But again, it's considered a very confidential topic. It's not one that we're going to talk about too much publicly. So this is Krishnadas Kaviraj. He wrote this in that 4th chapter of the Adi Leela. He said he's describing. Well, I'll read what Prabhupada wrote first. He said, oh, let me see. These are some of the verses from that chapter. It says, Lord Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, who is Krishna himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha, and thus he fulfilled his own desires. Oh, no, here, okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to read this first. This is from Prabhupada. He says, this chapter specifically describes the difference between lust and love. The transactions of Krishna and Radha are completely different from material lust. Therefore, the author has very carefully distinguished between them. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, he wanted us to understand who Sri Chaitanya is. And Sri Chaitanya is Krishna, fascinated by Radha's love, wanting to understand it, wanting to experience it, coming as a devotee so that he can follow in the footsteps of Radha. And so to understand that, to understand her love, we have to understand the difference between lust and love. And so Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to expound on that and then describe Radha. So it said the mood of the love of the residents of Vrindavan, the intimate love for Krishna. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Vraja, the damsels of Vrindavan, the gopis, but among them it finds its perfection in Sri Radha. These are verses from that chapter. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of the conjugal relationship. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. And a few verses down, it says, the loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these 2 transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with a sentiment and the complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. And he writes, therefore, I shall first delineate the position of Radha and Krishna. From that description, the glory of Lord Chaitanya will be known. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Ladini. Ladini means the devotional love that gives pleasure, that gives the deepest pleasure that exists. That Ladini energy gives Krishna pleasure, and it gives Krishna pleasure, and it nourishes his devotees. So therefore we worship Radha, because through our trying to understand Radha's love and through our worshiping Radha and her mood, her devotion, her love, we are nourished with love for Krishna. And then towards the end of that chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, after he's spoken a bit about Radha's love, he writes, all these conclusions are unfit to disclose in public. But if they're not disclosed, no one will understand them. Therefore, I shall mention them, revealing only their essence, so that loving devotees will understand them, but fools will not. And so, there's so much in that chapter. There's this other most fascinating chapter. It's a chapter that really needs to be heard from and studied under someone who has a deep understanding of it. But the 8th chapter, the Madhya Lila, where Sri Chaitanya speaks to Ramananda Roy and asks him, recite a verse from the revealed scriptures concerning the ultimate goal of life. And Ramananda Roy, he starts on one level, which is just basically like being a dutiful person, and Sri Chaitanya says, no, go deeper. And he keeps climbing up a ladder of depth in devotional love. And Sri Chaitanya's not satisfied. He keeps telling him, climb higher, climb higher. And eventually he gets to the love of the residents of Vrindavan, and he's like, now you're getting somewhere, keep going. And then he gets to the love of the gopis, and he's like, now you're really getting somewhere. And then finally he concludes with the love of Srimati Radharani. And then he goes into a long description, a very beautiful poetic description of who Radha is and the nature of her love. So we can hear about Radha's love if we search for it and we hear from the right people. And I really recommend that you hear it through Srila Prabhupada's books, because Prabhupada took great pains so that we understand it correctly. And maybe you could share a little, Raghunath, and there's something else I could read too if you would like to.
I first wanted to say I completely get it. When we're dealing with the teachings of bhakti in the Vedic tradition, it's quite impressive. If I was to say, okay, we're going to do math, and here's the chalkboard. We're going to write the math on the chalkboard. 1 + 1 apple + 1 apple is 2 apples. It's pretty simple. I can explain that math. But if we're talking about doing that same type of math on a, what do they call those calculators? Oh, come on, Mayor. Private school. Not an abacus. No, like those professional.
I don't know.
No, any of these big scientific calculators. It's like a whole different thing. And what to speak of, I said, break apart the calculator. You know how the chalk works on the chalkboard. How does the calculator work? It's like, that's a whole nother deal. They both have a function. They're both useful, but the calculator is just a little bit more complicated. And the math is more complicated too. 1 + 1 is still math. So when we say love God, well, okay, we take that. We got to be devotees. We got to be devotional service. We want to engage my work in the service of Krishna. That makes sense. So, but this is a very like this ocean goes very, very deep, and therefore, to the degree that you want to know more, it reveals itself. So, to the degree that we want to know about Radharani, it's a healthy desire. First of all, you're doing everything right. You don't feel like you're missing out on anything. But second of all, you start asking those questions, and then all of a sudden you'll find people who give windows, or people who give, into that type of relationship. Authors or speakers, etc. And to the degree that you have a hankering for it, it'll manifest to you as well. but don't feel like you should know more by now, or it's all math, and you're moving forward in your spiritual life. But to the degree that you hear about these personalities, to that degree, you'll fall in love with these personalities in the same way we fall in love with Krishna. How do you fall in love with Krishna? You hear about Krishna. So that's true. So Kosuba's giving the classic ones. The Goswamis have also written books about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and you can fall in love with those, and they're out there and they're translated. But that's how we fall in love with anybody we hear.
And I would recommend, I really recommend strongly that to approach those books, you really read Prabhupada's books first, so that you'll have his lens to read them through.
Mm.
You know, that you'll have his lens to read them through. Maybe I could read this, Rogan. I think it's a little esoteric, but I think if we hear, we'll get just something of what we're meant to understand, and how special and how sacred Radha is.
Sure.
And also a hint of why it's not spoken about so much publicly. So this is from the introduction to the Adi Leela, Srila Prabhupada's writing. He says, Radha and Krishna display their pastimes through Krishna's internal energy, right? His completely spiritual energy. The pleasure potency of Krishna's internal energy is a most difficult subject matter. And unless one understands what Krishna is, one cannot understand it. So the pleasure potency, again, that's called Hladini Shakti. It's one of Krishna's energies. It's the energy of bhakti. It's the energy of love. It's the pleasure potency, meaning the deepest pleasure is the pleasure of divine love. And Radha is the personification of that energy. She is the personification of Krishna's pleasure potency. So there's nothing more beautiful, there's nothing more sacred, there's nothing more perfect. And she personifies that energy. Now he says, Krishna does not take, and just try to hear this, try to understand this. Krishna does not take any pleasure in this material world. We do. We try to take pleasure of this material world. And so this can be difficult for us to understand, but he writes this, and what a clue to the esoteric teachings of bhakti that he's going to share here. Krishna does not take any pleasure in this material world, but he has a pleasure potency. So he has this totally spiritual potency that he takes pleasure in connecting with, in uniting with, in loving. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, this pleasure potency is within us also, because we're made of Krishna's energies, right? Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, this pleasure potency is within us also, but we are trying to exhibit that pleasure potency in matter. So we are made of the potency that can give love to Krishna and please Krishna and be perfectly situated in that love. But we're taking that potency, that divine energy that we're made of, and misusing it, misdirecting it. And so we focus it towards matter. He says, Krishna, however, does not make such a vain attempt. He's not interested in the things of the temporary matter of this world. He's only interested in that divine love. That's all he takes pleasure in. There's this example that's sometimes used of, is it the chakora bird?
Yep.
The chakora, right? That's what's special.
There's one to subsist on raindrops, and there's one that subsists on moonlight. So there's the chakora and the Chataka bird.
Yeah. I think it's a Chataka bird that it won't drink any water from the ground. It will only drink, it's only interested in water that is falling from the sky. Once it touches the ground, it's not going to touch it, right? So it's very patient. Sometimes it's going thirsty. It's a connoisseur, right? And it's only, and we're meant to become like that we become like Krishna, not interested in the so-called love of this world that is really lust, right? That is really built on selfishness rather than selflessness. So again, he writes, Krishna, however, does not make, I'll go back and saying, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, the pleasure potency is within us also. But we are trying to exhibit that pleasure potency in matter. Krishna, however, does not make such a vain attempt. The object of Krishna's pleasure potency is Radharani. Krishna exhibits his potency or energy as Radharani and then engages in loving affairs with her. In other words, Krishna does not take pleasure in this external energy, but exhibits his internal energy, his pleasure potency, as Radharani. Thus, Krishna manifests himself as Radharani, because she's a manifestation of his energy, in order to exhibit his internal pleasure potency. Of the many extensions, expansions, and incarnations of the Lord, and there's so many, bright, powerful, Mahavishnu, whose universes are coming out of his skin, right? But here Prabhupada writes, of the many extensions, expansions, and incarnations of the Lord, this pleasure potency, Radha, is the foremost in chief. Because she's nothing but pure love, right? Therefore, she is so sacred. Therefore, when we see her on that altar, in one sense, she's even more sacred to us than Krishna, right? Because all that she embodies is what is, it's in us because we're made of Krishna's potency, but it's not coming out of us, or it's being misdirected and causing us so much suffering. So, yeah, we need to understand this through the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. And if we understand it there, then we'll mature to a point where we can read it in other places too. But there's so much depth to understand in what Srila Prabhupada has written on Radha. And, really, we need, you and I, Raghunath, we need to make further arrangements for people to go deeper into these subjects. And I think hopefully in the coming year, we can help develop an academy where we can have courses and discussions on these kind of things.
It's important to have a desire for hearing about Radha and Krishna's pastimes. It's also important to say, like, fools rush in also.
Yeah. Sure.
Sometimes we go into things and we still haven't even cleaned up our material consciousness. We still can't control our senses, our mind, our tongue, our belly, our genitals. And we think we can understand like this esoterica. We're not allowed in. It will just seem like a cartoon. Radha and Krishna's pastimes will seem like a cartoon to us. Krishna will seem like a cartoon character for us.
Right.
We have to do the difficult work first. There's no jumping over steps. They have to climb these steps in an appropriate way, and not rush into things where it's like forbidden. Not forbidden. It's just like the water's over our head oftentimes.
Yeah. It's, the key to this, and what was being mentioned earlier when I was reading some verses from the 4th chapter of the Adi Leela, is what is the distinction between lust and love? What is the distinction between true divine love and the warped reflection of that we have in this world? Is that one is entirely selfless and one has been contaminated or what's the word I'm looking for? No, I can't think of the word. Like when you corrupted. One has been corrupted by selfishness. And as long as we're corrupted by selfishness, we don't really understand it. And so therefore, devotional service is there, that we serve and we cultivate selfless service. And that selfless service helps facilitate our understanding and our receptivity to the mercy of understanding what is pure divine love. Whew.
I like that.
We don't have a lot of time left, but I was thinking if you skip to the last question, I did a little research for that one, Raghunath.
Okay.
Might be and it's a lighter
from
subject.
Aaron?
These have been two heavy questions that we dealt with today.
This is from Aaron via email. This is a less serious question, but I'm curious. Are there any stories of Krishna with cats? My cat is constantly trying to steal my sandalwood mala beads. I'm wondering if it could have any significance, or is he just mischievous? Interesting. I know Krishna's got a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
I know Krishna has a dog, and I know he has a bird. I've never heard of a cat. Have you?
No. The only thing I was trying to think of, cats. I know he comes as half man, half cat when he comes as Lord Nrsingadev.
That doesn't count.
Well, it counts as something.
Before we
At
go
least
anywhere,
it's-
before we go anywhere, trivia
Yeah.
question: What is
Yeah.
the name of Krishna's monkey?
Krishna's monkey. Let me go deep, 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 deep within.
See if the message board don't Google it, sir. I'm looking at your left hand.
Both hands are out. His monkey's name is Dari Lobha.
Daddy Loba. Yes, it is. Daddy Loba. Good
Yeah.
job. Which means what? Daddy Loba.
Dadhi it means
Dadhi Loba.
he's eager to eat yogurt.
Yes, he's eager for yogurt. Isn't that a great name for a monkey? Daddy Loba. He's a greedy yogurt thief.
for yogurt. Greedy for yogurt. Yeah, I thought of that. I also thought Krishna wears like a tiger claw necklace. Other than that, I couldn't come up with any cat stuff.
Yeah, tiger claws are a thing. They're auspicious. People wear them as necklaces, or no,
You don't
an
kill the
auspicious
tiger
thing.
for it. Only after the tiger's died a natural death.
Ahimsa tigers, Prabhu.
Ahimsa tiger
Yeah,
claw.
but Krishna did wear a tiger claw.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm known here about cats either. So I think
Well,
you just have a mischievous cat, Aaron.
Yeah, okay.
It's got nothing to do with he wants to chant. He could be a devotee who just wants to
Could be
chant
pure
japa.
devotee.
He's trying to talk to you. He's trying to no, I need more chanting in my life. What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time, Aaron? So it could be maybe the cat is taking the japa and trying to
He's saying
set an
chant,
example
and you to
for
chant
you.
more.
Yeah.
Trying to get you.
Yeah, I think you should flip that story. It's not a mischievous cat. You're mischievous, and you better get your act together. That's what the cat's trying to tell you. Cat.
Good cat. Good
The
cat.
cat's trying to tell us all that. The cat induced you to
Cats
write this
aren't
email.
afraid to just say it like it is.
No, cat. No, that's the cat induced you to write this email, read it on the show, so we could sit here and chastise people like Lori Pagan the Chief. Have you chanted your japa today? Amy Steller, have you chanted your japa today? What is going on with you guys? The cat wants to know.
Okay.
Amy Steller's looking at me. She's in the cold snow. Sorry, Amy. I'm just joking.
All right. So here's the research I did, Raghunath. I went to the Sri Radha Krishna Ganadesha Deepika, the lamp that illuminates Sri
Ooh.
Radha and Krishna's dear associates. This is a book by
So
Rupa
that-
Goswami that is
It's
just
a cool
listing
book.
all their associates. Yeah.
It lists their associates, but it lists who they were in Krishna's Leela that were in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. For example,
N-
for example,
I think you're thinking of the
Mara-
Gaura
wait,
Ganadesha Deepika.
oh yeah. Okay.
That's-
What is
that's
this
the
book
Gaura-
called?
Radha Krishna Ganadesha Deepika.
Okay. What does it tell them about their previous births?
It tells
what they
us
were?
all about it. Just lists who all their associates are.
Oh, okay. It just gives a running list of names and what they do.
Yeah.
All right. What you got?
So Mangala, Pingala, Ganga, Pishangi, Manikastani, Hangsi, Vangsi Priya, and other cows are most dear to Sri Krishna and are known as the best of cows.
He's got favorite cows.
He's got favorite cows. The two
Krishna would
bulls.
chant these names of the cows on his malas.
Yeah, he would. The two bulls, Padmaganda and Pishangaksha, are most dear to Sri Krishna. His deer, he's got a pet deer called
Krishna's got a
Suranga,
pet deer. Oh, that's beautiful.
and his
It's also
monkey's
the
name,
okay.
and his
okay,
monkey's name is Dari Lobha.
Oh, you did know that. Okay.
Okay.
The Saranga is also the name of his what? Kastuba, trivia question, hot seat.
Well, this says Suranga.
Oh, Suranga.
and
Okay.
not Sauranga. Sauranga is his bow.
name of his bow. Yeah.
Okay. Then Sri Krishna has two pet dogs.
Okay.
I
What
don't-
are they?
I don't think
know
they
the
let them
names
in
of
the house
dogs.
though. The dogs' names are Vyagra
Wait,
and
how do you know they don't let them in the house?
I know because they don't do that in India. You don't let the dogs.
No,
in the
they
house.
do. Some people do.
I don't know where that organized.
Some
know
people
that.
snuggle with their dogs in India.
Some people
Okay,
do,
go
but
on.
Krishna does. Anyway, Sri Krishna
don't
also has two
know?
pet. Oh,
Don't
we can
know.
find out. We'll do some research. Sri Krishna
Let's-
also has two pet dogs, Vyagra and Brahmarika. He's got a pet
Okay.
swan named
Swans.
Yeah.
Swans can be nasty.
Now hold it,
Go on.
Raghunath.
They're
He's
just
got a
they're
s-
they're protector birds.
Okay. Well, he's got a pet swan named Kalasvana, and he's got a peacock
Colors.
named Tundavika, and he's got two male parrots named. Do you know?
Suka?
Nope.
Is one Suka? No?
Daksha
Mary.
and Vichakshana.
Oh, I did not know that.
Now Radha, she's got some pets as well.
Okay.
Sri Radha's cows are Sunada, Yamuna, Bahula, and others.
Okay.
They have offspring every year and give birth only to male calves.
Huh.
Sri Radha's deer female calf, Tungi, is quite strong and well nourished.
Punk?
Huh?
Punk? What's the
What?
name?
Tungi.
What did you say the name? Oh, Tunk. Tungi.
Tungi.
Oh, Tungi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bonk. How'd you get
Tunk?
that? Tunk, bonk? No. Tungi. And her old female monkey, she's got an old female
An
monkey
old
pet.
female monkey. Oh, man. I want a monkey so bad.
Her old female, don't be anti-monkey. Monkeys are good.
I want a monkey, I'm saying. I want a monkey so bad.
Oh, you want one so bad. Okay. Her
Yeah.
old female
I would
monkey.
take care of it. I put a diaper on it. I'd feed it. Carry it with me places.
Okay. Her old female monkey is Kakati.
Kakati. Okay.
Now she has a doe, a pet doe.
Oh.
Doe, a deer, a
A female deer.
Remember we did that on the show that time? Doe, a deer, a female deer. Her doe's name is Rangini, and her female chakori bird is called Charu Chandrika.
Wow, she's got a chakori bird.
She got a chakori bird. She also has a swan.
Okay.
Sri Radha's female swan is called Tundikeri. She sports in Radha's own pond, Sri Radha Kund. How about that?
It's valuable info, Prabhu.
Now, if Krishna has a peacock, what does Radha have?
Peahen.
She's got a peahen called Tundika. And her two female parrots are named Shukshmadhi, which means refined intelligence, and Shubha. These two female parrots recite the charming songs that Sri Lalita Devi composes about the pastimes of her mistress and master, Sri Radha and Krishna. Amazing, huh? So she's got her friend, Lalita Devi, glorifying the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna to the bird, so that the bird is singing these pastimes all the time. The parrots utter the wonderful poetry of the songs with exceedingly sweet voices, and thus awaken an astonishing rasa in the minds of the Sakhis, in the minds of the gopis. Unbelievable. There you go.
Thank you. You're like a window into the spiritual world, Kastuba.
Well, not me. I'm just sharing it. You know.
Thanks to everybody for joining us today. Thanks for dealing with the crazy light show we got going out here on the beach of Agunda in Goa. No show tomorrow, but we're back on Monday. But we're going to do it at this time again, which is 8 a.m. New York
Eastern
time. And yeah, that's the latest. All right, Italy's filling up, Mr. Kastuba. I just got a message from Tarek from Italy.
Oh, yeah.
It's on. It's happening.
People are signing
You
up.
want to come to Italy, wisdomofsages.com. That's where you go, /events. Marabou. I call it Marabou, the caribou. No.
Bear.
They called you Marabou? Oh, they called her Marabou when she was little. Well,
I thought
Malibu.
Bear.
Malibu Mara is bronze. You said bronze she is? She bronzes up real quick. I try to tell her, you're not the body, Prabhu. You're not the body. You're not the mind. You're something divine. But she's like, nope, got a tan. You gotta take care of it. Anyway, thanks everybody. Dealing with the internet and everything.
I had to carry a lot of weight yesterday, Raghunath. I want you to know that.
Hey, Henry. Oh, you carry? Oh, yeah. credit to Kostuba if you missed the show yesterday when our internet
Put
just
that-
shut down on us.
Put that on my
Kostuba
shoulder
carried the
and
whole
carried
thing.
the ball.
I want to hear how people liked it, and yeah. Some people calling me up say, hey, Kostuba did the show by himself, was pretty good. That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear the whole thing's falling apart without me. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the whole thing was about to collapse. It was on the brink of collapsing. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear how great Kostuba was.
Hey, Ragnar, do you notice that Henry G is growing a bit of a beard there? I've never seen
I
this
know.
before.
You know what? It's a good look, Henry.
I like it.
It's a good
I
look.
like
You
it.
look like a
noble
professional. You look
gentleman.
smarter. You look smarter. You're already pretty smart, but you look smarter. You look like you could be like one of those Civil War generals.
Yeah, I felt that a little bit too.
A
Yeah.
Civil War general from the North, that is. Mr.
Get him some of those big
Showbox.
boots.
Get you some big boots, a sword, perhaps. I bet he's
Sword.
got a sword.
Got a sword somewhere
You
there?
got a good like Civil War sword in there in the Sholkoff family collection. He looks, yeah, it's a good look, Henry. Did you have like do you have a stylist or something?
You're a stylist. He's his own stylist.